Okay, alright, so first off, you might be wondering why I'm dressed like this. It's because I'm filming this on Thanksgiving. I don't watch the NFL, and that's what's on right now, football. So I thought during this time I'd make this video. Second of all, probably the most important part, I need to explain why I quit the reenactment man, quit doing reenactments, and what about Greasers versus Socs. I do want to explain what's going to be done with Greasers versus Socs more. I think that's what the majority of this video is going to be. But I'm going to take a little bit of time, not too much time, to explain why I'm not doing reenactments anymore, why I'm not moving forward with them anymore. I made a post, I don't know if you guys saw it, a lot of you probably didn't, explaining that I'm quitting and kind of summarizing why I'm quitting, but I kind of wanted to go into more depth. There are three main reasons why I quit the reenactment man, and those three reasons are: one, no one really cares about the reenactments anymore; two, they're very costly financially and mentally; and three, they're not fun anymore. So let's first start with number one, no one really cares about them anymore. Now, I don't have an insane amount of subscribers. I don't even have 500, but a lot of people that I know, a lot of people that the cast knows, family, friends, they love the reenactments, or at one point loved the reenactments. I've started the Re-Enactment man when I was 16 years old. The first reenactment we did, the Jurassic Park reenactment, it was just a school project for my English class in my sophomore year of high school. Got some cross-country buddies together, and we reenacted a couple scenes from Jurassic Park. And from there, I thought this was fun, and decided to keep doing it. And they were well received by a lot of people. For a few years, the reenactments we did, the reenactments of movies and TV shows, our own takes on certain stories, were received very well and got decent views. But over the last maybe year and a half, maybe even 2 years, the viewership declined. Not just the viewership, but feedback on them too. Now, there are two reasons why I think people don't really care about the reenactments anymore. One, I started the channel when I was in high school, and when we were in high school, we didn't have the responsibilities that we have now. Again, I started the channel when I was 16. I'm 21 now, and things are radically different for me and people that have, been in reenactments and stayed in reenactments for quite a while. A lot of us have jobs. I go to college and work a part-time job. Some of us, have relationships. Some of us have gotten married, actually. And one of the actors that has been on the Re-Enactment man before has a kid on the way. So yeah, it's not like back in high school when, the only thing we needed to worry about was going to school and then going to practice afterwards. And then, we'd be like, hey, you want to go film a scene after practice? We're like, yeah, let's do it. No, it's not that. And quite honestly, when it came to filming things like The Kingpin of Gotham, and some of the recent projects that we've done that, never really seen the light of day, YouTube in that regard, we had to film on the weekends. And the weekends were very difficult because a lot of us have stuff to do on the weekends too. And taking these adult responsibilities we have to take on, into account. Making projects have taken longer, therefore we've made longer projects. Kingpin of Gotham was an hour and 35 minutes long. Greaser and Socs was 45 minutes long. We put time into these things mainly because we wanted to do a feature-length thing, but another factor was, we can't make these as consistently as we used to because, we're caught up with things all the time and we can't always be together all the time. And I think that plays into why people don't really care anymore. It's because we're not putting them out. We're not putting them out consistently anymore. It could be months, until we upload another reenactment project, mainly because, it's just hard to get people together. It's a real nightmare to get people together for reenactments because of all the responsibilities that we do now. Sometimes I have to cancel shoots because, I've got stuff to do too. The second reason is pretty similar to the first reason, though it's more about the viewers. Our viewers, a lot of the viewers when we started were, we went to school with, or they were friends of people we went to school with, people we did sports with. And I think now that they're not in high school anymore either, they don't have time, to check out the latest reenactment as soon as it drops. Maybe they'll check it out later on, or say they'll check it out later on, but life gets in the way, and responsibilities, that they take on, take up their time, and they could just forget, and they never check it out. And I've noticed, the decline in not so much viewership. Viewership has been pretty stable. We've been getting decent views on like, some projects over the last like year and a half. We've been getting decent views. It's the lack of feedback, the lack of people that seem to care. When I started it, people were very vocal about, what they liked, what they disliked. Now with like a project like Blue Moon, the Elvis Presley short film that we did, I didn't hear any feedback. Now it got like almost 700 views, which is pretty good for us, but I didn't hear anyone, coming to talk to me about it, talking about what they liked or disliked about it. It also could be just maybe they did watch it, they just don't care to, give an analysis on that, and that's okay. Again, they've probably got better things to do after that. If they do get around to actually watching a reenactment, they probably just say something like cool, and then click out and go back to doing what they were doing. Now we're going to move on to reason number 2, and it's the reenactments as of lately have been costly mentally and financially. I think most filmmakers, if any of you have made a film before, know that making a film is not easy. It is hard. It takes up a lot of your time, and it stresses you out a lot, whether it's you have the script right, you have all the actors together that can get you can get on this day of shooting, organizing everything, paying the actors somehow. I don't pay my actors. They don't get paid money. Like, I'll give them food, but like that's pretty much it. If they need gas money, I'll give them gas money, but other than that, the actors work for free. And I have to, organize, which actors can be available which days. I have to work around schedules because not everyone can be available every day at this time. It's a lot of hard work. And I think the worst case of this that I've experienced was making the Kingpin of Gotham. Now, I loved making the Kingpin of Gotham. I had fun pretty much every single time we filmed. It was a blast. It was a joy. But prepping for the scenes was a nightmare, and it's not because of the production itself, but because of everything else that was going on in my life at the time. I was a freshman in college at the time. When we were in production, I had 5 college classes.
It's the day before Easter, and I got an essay due tonight that I haven't started yet. So I got a great idea as to how to not do this essay. I'm going to blow up the world.
I had 2 part-time jobs. I ran and lifted consistently, even did some 5Ks, was working on this feature-length reenactment project, and for a little while I was in a romantic relationship. That ended about halfway through production, so at least that was off my shoulders. But still, it was a lot, dude. It was a lot in my life at the time. Carrying the weight of college, 2 part-time jobs, keeping myself in shape, working on this project, and half of this phase, a romantic relationship, it took a toll on me, dude. I was tired. I was stressed. There were some times where I didn't want to go to class. I don't want to go to work. I don't want to go for a run today. I don't want to shoot today. It was hard, man. It was really hard. I mean, I got through it. I could confidently say that I got through it, but dude, that was a time in my life where I think I only got like 5-6 hours of sleep a night. It was pretty rough. And then there's the financial stress. Now, I've had people come up to me asking me if this was my job, or saying, "Oh, this isn't your job?" No, reenactments was never my job. I never got paid a cent to film a reenactment. It was a hobby of mine. And in the later years, a very expensive hobby. When we were in high school, we just made do with what we had at home. We didn't buy props very often. I mean, there were times where we like bought props for a thing if we really needed something, but not often. But when we started doing the big productions, I really wanted specific props, specific filming equipment too. So that would come out of my own pocket. And also, again, since we weren't in high school anymore, the guys, the cast, they can't just do this for free all the time. So specifically when we would like travel out of town to film a scene, I would buy everyone food. Either that or like give some people gas money if they needed it. Again, coming out of my pocket. I don't make money from these reenactments, therefore I'm putting more money into the reenactments than I am gaining back, which is nothing. And that caused some financial stress, considering, I've got college to pay for, I have other expenses to pay for, I want to go out and have fun with my friends, that's another thing. I want to be able to go and just, spend some money, leisurely, and, go out to eat with friends, that was harder considering the amount of money I was putting into reenactments. It's a burden that kind of, is off my shoulders now that I quit. I've noticed I have more money now, which has been nice. And now finally, we're going to get to the last reason, and it's the reenactments aren't as fun anymore. I think the first two reasons are big contributing factors as to why they're not fun anymore. They might be the only reasons. Honestly, I'm still trying to figure out what the 100% accurate reason is as to why reenactments aren't fun anymore. And it might just be because I'm growing up, I'm more tired now. I'm burdened with, a lot of things that I can't ignore. Sometimes I've realized that I have to prioritize adult responsibilities over fun a lot of the time. And I mean, that's just a part of growing up. And that might be why, considering I'm so tired from these things, when I finally do get time to, film a reenactment and we're on set, I mean, we're doing it, we're getting it done, but I'm standing there and I'm like thinking, I could just be taking this time to like rest or like do something else that I enjoy, like watch a movie or something. Instead, I'm using my rest day from college, work, running, whatever, to, go out and for like 3 hours to film this scene. And I was sensing that kind of energy from the cast too. Now, don't get me wrong, they don't despise reenactments or anything. They're glad that they do them. They like doing them. Do they like doing them all the time? No, they don't. And I don't like doing them all the time myself. But they're good people. I asked them, you want to do this that day? They say yes. And most of the time they want to stay true to their word, even if they don't really want to do it, and just get it done. And that's what makes them great guys. And I think what's made the reenactments so fun, up until this point, is these are my real friends.
I'm gonna take that talk off you, boy.
What?
A lot of these guys I met in high school, some, through high school cross country and track. I've met some of them as friends of friends, and I'm very grateful for them. They're all good people. I wouldn't allow a person that I don't think everyone would gel with, into what we do, because I don't want there to be, controversies. I don't want there to be tension or conflict or anything like that. I want it to be a good time. But again, as of recently, filming reenactments hasn't been a great time. It's not a terrible time, but again, we could just be doing something better. We could be, taking this time to rest from our jobs and such. The last time I truly had fun filming a reenactment was Blue Moon. We filmed Blue Moon in the course of only 2 days, and it was a lot of fun. We got a hotel room where we would keep all of our stuff. We would, put on outfits there, do makeup, hair, hang out there, regroup there, because sometimes there was time in between shoots, so we would maybe have an hour or two in between where we could just hang out, bullshit, play games, stuff like that. And it was a good time. I haven't had fun doing a reenactment since. Again, there have been reenactment projects we've done that have not seen the light of day. Because you may, look through our YouTube channel and see that Blue Moon, wasn't that long ago. We haven't done many projects since then. Well, we have. They just haven't been uploaded. I did have fun being in Fishtails though, and the Harvey Dent spin-off directed by Carter Daniel, mainly because I didn't have to direct. I just had to act. I just had to know my character. That's what made it fun for me. I didn't have the burden responsibilities of a director during those projects. So that is the third and final reason as to why I quit reenactments, and it is that they are not fun anymore. All right, now that that is all out of the way, let's get to why I really want to make this video, and that is what is up with Greasers vs. Socs. Greasers vs. Socs is a film inspired by S.E. Hinton's The Outsiders, and is a sequel to another film we did like that called Greaser and Socs. We started production in April and went to July, and stopped after that, mainly because I slowly started to realize that I don't want to do reenactments anymore. I started writing Greasers vs. Socs in February and ended in early April. It was a full script this time around. For those who know me, I usually never have a finished script because I'm so antsy to start production on the film, but we had to finish the script this time around, and I loved writing that script, mainly because of the characters. I love the characters of the Greaser and Soch, Greasers versus Soch's world. Now that we had a finished script, we could start production, and we never finished the film, but we probably got about a good 60% of the film done, which is over half, so that's cool. Now here's the thing, despite this film not being finished, I do still want to release what we have left of it, and that's what I've been doing the last couple days. I have been editing the film, and I just finished editing it last night, and it is on my laptop now.
See, right there, guys. Right there. Got the Greasers vs. Socs file right here, ready to upload to YouTube. Yep.
Ready to be uploaded whenever I want to. Now, we were aiming for a release date of September 12th, and we never met that again because I just shut down. I didn't want to do reenactments anymore. However, the thing about Greasers vs. Socs is, while we didn't have a super duper fun time doing it, I mean, don't get me wrong, we didn't have a horrible time, and there were like really good moments, but we weren't, having a whole lot of fun doing it. But despite that, the scenes that we got are still really damn good. I argue some of the best scenes that we've ever gotten. We used Filmic Pro this time around. We didn't just use the camera app this time to film the videos, the scenes. We used Filmic Pro, a movie making app, which was also very costly. It was like $10 a week if I wanted to use that thing. That's another reason why I was financially stressed. But yeah, it looks nice. The app makes the scenes look nice. The acting is great, mainly because we have a finished script that the actors can study and understand, and they know what to say, what to do, what their mannerisms are. So yeah, I think while we didn't finish it, I do want to release what we have of it, and that's what I did. I edited it together. Now, you may think, well, what about the scenes that you didn't get? I have little title cards in place of the scenes that we didn't get, because we made this film out of order. So like we filmed like the final scene of the film, but there's so much that happens before the final scene that we never filmed. So I just put title cards explaining what happens in the script. And at the beginning of the film, after the opening credits, I put time durations for those who maybe just want to see what we got. They don't care about the title cards. They don't care about like what we didn't get. There are time frames that you could skip to that I listed at the end of the opening credits if you just want to see what we filmed. Now, not finishing an Outsiders related project is not a new thing for us. Fun fact, Greaser and Soch was not supposed to end with Chip and Kara having a romantic scene next to a reservoir. There was supposed to be a lot more than that. But I kind of had a similar experience. Minor inconvenience happened and I didn't want to do the film anymore, so I just uploaded what we had. And now something similar has happened with Greasers vs. Socs, and this has led me to believe that, making a film based on the concept of Greasers and Socs, the concept that S.E. Hinton created for The Outsiders, is a lot harder than you think. You might think it's simple, but it was harder than making a Batman-related film, a Michael Myers-related film, even an Elvis-related film, which that was a lot of work too. In both Greaser and Soch and Greasers vs. Socs, I have a lot more than like two people interacting with each other, which, in other projects we've done, we've had, a big group of people in a scene, but that was only like one or two times. There are so many scenes in those two films, those two outsider-related films, where we had so many people in one scene. I wanted so many people, like all these characters in one scene. Touchdown. But we couldn't really get the actors all together for one day most of the time. So it was really, really difficult. Not only that, but we had to be historically accurate. Now, most of the time, we actually weren't historically accurate with our use of vocabulary.
Hey, Oliver, pass me a 9.
3 months, we're gonna beat your ass.
What you gonna do?
Bro, you built like a Lego minifigure. Yeah, well, you built like the Kool-Aid Man.
I donated a car to charity once and then stole it.
Hey, Dad.
My daddy lets me eat his cigars.
Shut your broke ass up.
You suck my...
Or our clothing, or the fact that you could see modern day cars driving by when we're filming a scene. Kind of hard to film in a town where there's constantly activity going on. And it's a shame because a lot of the town that we live in has, historical looking locations that have been there since the 1940s, 1950s, 1960s, and we utilize them to the best of our ability. But having those modern day cars, modern day buildings, modern day logos didn't really help when it came to keeping the scenes historically accurate, even though the films take place in 1956 and 1957. So if you haven't figured it out already, yes, I am going to release what we have of Greasers versus Socias. Now you might be wondering, when is it going to release, and is there going to be an official trailer beforehand? As for the trailer, no, there won't. We have a teaser trailer that we uploaded, but this was back when, we thought we were still going to be in production and that we were going to have it out by September 12th. You can go back and find the Greasers vs. Socias teaser trailer. If you want to watch that, go ahead. As for when the film is going to be released, the unfinished film, Greasers vs. Socias, what we have of it, is going to be released on December 20th at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can watch the film. You can watch Greasers vs. Socias, what we have of it. Will I do some promotion for this? Yeah, I think I will do some promotion because I really like this story that I conceived, that I wrote. I mean, it's using the Greasers and Socias concept from The Outsiders, but it really is an original film with original characters. And again, I love the characters in this universe, in these two movies. Primarily our main squad of guys, which is Chip, Ken, Leonard, and Tim. Those guys are our main squad. Now we have other interesting characters like Chip and Tim's older brother Daniel, and we also have like the Socias. How they have their own distinct names and kind of sort of distinct personalities. They're all dicks, but they've got their own distinct lines and such that bring out their own kind of personality. And we have the other greasers that kind of have an identity too, like Mike, Kai, and Robert. And while I won't say much about Greasers vs. Socias, I will say this: there is an antagonist in the film, so that's something to look forward to. It's not just the Greasers and Socias disliking each other, their feud. No, there is an antagonist in the film. And unlike Greaser and Soch, where I focus more on the romance between Chip and Kara, Greasers vs. Socias is more focused on the friendship, the brotherhood of our main squad, the main Fab Four. Side note right here, a really important side note, but you may notice if you've watched Greaser and Soch, and if you watched the Greasers vs. Socias teaser trailer, the actor for Tim is different. Caden Mendiola originally played Tim in Greaser and Soch, and he did a phenomenal job. This is his first reenactment he was in, and he was great fun to have on the set. He understood the character very well, played him very well. Well, by the time I finished the script for Greasers vs. Socias, I was calling everyone, contacting them, asking if they wanted to be in the sequel. And then I contacted him, and we talked about it, and he said, well, he would have loved to. He's busy with college and work and such, and he just doesn't know if he would have time to do it. And, I obviously understand that. So I needed to find another actor for Tim. And that's when I found Jeremiah. Jeremiah I already knew, like me and him have already talked before. I pitched the idea to him, had him watch Greaser and Soch, and, he loves The Outsiders, but who doesn't love The Outsiders? And he was very excited about the role and took it and played Tim very well in the film. I think he did exceptionally well. Then again, Jeremiah is an actor himself. He's done a lot of theater, so he's going to be, just natural at this. So we got that handled. We now have someone to play Tim, and pretty much the rest of the original cast was able to come back. And I'm glad that they were, because I didn't want there to be too much confusion as to why everyone looks different if I had to recast everyone. But I'm so glad we were able to, get that dynamic between those four. I think that's the most important part of this story, even though we didn't get to finish it. At least in the screenplay, that is the most important part of the story. This is my version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Fantastic Four, The Beatles, Teletubbies. On a not so important side note, even though I still am a diehard Elvis Presley fan, I have been getting into the Beatles more lately. And I was wondering which Beatle would our greasers be, our four main greasers. And I think I got it down. Ken is John Lennon, Chip is Paul McCartney, Leonard is George Harrison, and Tim is Ringo Starr. And then Daniel is Brian Epstein, and Caden Mendiola, who played Tim previously, is Pete Best. And one more note, we do have a cover that was done for Greasers vs. Socias. It was the cover of a Benson Boone song. I forget what it was called. Let me look it up. I just looked it up. It is Little Runaway by Benson Boone. A friend of ours did a cover of it for the ending credits of Greases vs. Socius. They do want to stay anonymous though. I don't remember why, but we're respecting their wishes. And you will actually get to hear this cover in the ending credits. And I think, I haven't decided yet, but I think I may release the song beforehand as well. Just as, you know, a good way to promote the film, even though it's not a finished product. Sometime between Christmas Day and New Year's Eve, you know, the time where time doesn't exist, I am going to upload a little video where you can access a link in the description and actually read the entire screenplay, so you can actually see how a lot of the scenes that we didn't film would have played out, and also how a lot of the scenes we did film would have originally played out, because we didn't always go by script. I hope this video gave you guys some more insight as to why I quit Re-Enactments, and I also hope that maybe it gets you hyped for releasing the unfinished cut of Greases vs. Socius. I'm very excited to release it. I still think what we got is fantastic. Some of the best work we've done. Again, going to be released December 20th here on the Re-Enactment Man at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching, and have a good night.